working in live action is really crazy because you're seeing like a picture of what's really happening, but you don't see is like 200 people all the way around.
So today we are so lucky to have the most brilliant, talented, and beautiful Diane on our podcast. She's especially wonderful because she also happens to be my great aunt. So of the many incredible things that she has accomplished, some including being an incredible photographer, amazing mom, part of one of the premier LA architectural firms, and serving as a producer and senior producer on various well-known TV shows, including the Barbie and Hot Wheels Netflix series, which both topped the weekly most popular shows during their run. Diane, can you tell us a little bit about your work as a producer?
It's super fun. I started out in animation many years ago. I sort of started from the ground up. I had been working in live action film production in New York City. I moved to California and I had a background in art. And so I got a job it was a new company at the time that was starting out that was called Marvel Films. And what they were doing back then is they were taking the Marvel universe and turning them into cartoons. So I got a job there and started working. I got to work with Stan Lee and I got to work with a bunch of really cool people on some animated shows that aired this is back in the 90s. So this is ancient. So I worked there and then I kind of worked my way up working at different studios. I worked at Marvel and then I ended up working at Universal Cartoon Studios, where we did a whole bunch of like The Land Before Time and Woody Woodpecker Show and Casper and that kind of things. And I just slowly worked my way up to becoming a producer and then a senior producer as I got working on multiple shows at once. So it's a really fun job because I get to deal with art and visual art and writing and editing and sound and also hiring the staff and working with budgets and all the business aspects. So I have a hand in both. So it's really fun.
Well, there's a lot of cool aspects to that, but what do you think is your favorite part?
My favorite part is the production part, out of the production part, my very, very favorite is post-production. And that's where we take the film that we've created and we add sound to it. We've already edited it. That's really fun too. The editorial's really fun, sitting and making choices of how to tell the story a little bit better, affect the timing, and then working with the composer to have the composer write music that's specific for the episode, and then working with the sound effects team, and then going onto the mix stage and mixing all the different sounds up against the picture. That is my favorite part.
And how long does that usually take?
The post-production we take about 6 weeks to do that. It takes a long time. And then before that, we've spent 14 weeks in animation. And before that, we spent 14 weeks in pre-production doing all the storyboard and the design. And then before that, we've spent about 6 weeks in writing. And then before that, we spent about 8 weeks to 10 weeks developing. So the whole process takes a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most difficult part of your job?
There's a lot of little annoying things that happen. It's hard because it's all fun. When you enjoy what you do, it's hard to even point to anything that's difficult. I guess sometimes it's difficult to make sure everything works in concert so you end up with the right product at the end, because part of what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the different aspects of the production and making sure they all work together. So I need to make sure that everybody's hired on time and that whoever's doing whatever aspect of it, either the animation or the storyboard artist or the designers, maybe making sure that that's all working together so that we can move it to the next level so we can get to that post-production part. That's so much fun.
Yeah. What other jobs were there like kind of behind the scenes or on set?
Or in animation or in live action or both?
Both.
It takes so many people to make something that you sit down and you watch. So what you don't ever see, if you're watching like a live action, and when I say live action, just so everybody knows, live action is when you have like real people that are being filmed as opposed to people that are drawn. That's an animation. So it takes so many people to get that thing done completely. You've got producers and writers and directors and actors. And those are probably the things that you guys think of, or most people think of, readily. And there's also the composers and the sound effects people. But there's also, like, on a live action set, you've got somebody whose job is called craft services. And craft services, those are the people that make sure that there's food and drinks for everybody during during the shoot, so that you can go and grab a snack. There's also there's people that drive the trucks. That's a specific job. Those are on a union job, those are called Teamsters. And they take care of everything that has to do with transportation. There's also the people that do the lighting. There's the people that do the set design, the people that go out and shop for the things that would be on the set. Like, if you look at just a one frame of a movie or a television series, there's paintings in the background, and maybe there's a cup or a piece of furniture or whatever. There's somebody that decides what that's going to look like, and then there's people that either make it or go buy it. And then there's a whole costuming people. Costume wardrobe's really cool. And then there's also hair and makeup. And then there's these PAs that run around. That's when you're first getting in. That's how I started. I was a PA, so I'd run around and I'd have to, like, bring somebody a cup of coffee or make sure there was enough toilet paper in the bathroom where all the extras were being held, or they would send me to go tell an actor that his ride was here, like things like that. So there's that. And then there's all the business people. There's the people that are writing the contracts for all the talent. So we need lawyers, we need accountants. There's tons of different jobs in film and television. You brought up another job. That's the people that arrange for the locations. So they used to send me out and they'd say, we're looking for basketball courts. We need to shoot this scene on a basketball court, and we want to shoot it in the afternoon. So we want to make sure that there's nice light on it coming from, so somebody's going to stand at the basket and we want the light to hit them on their face, right? So I had to go out and take pictures of different basketball courts using a compass and a watch, so they knew the time of day and which direction the photograph was in. And then I would bring it back, and then we would secure the location. Then we'd have to go get permits for that location, or if it was a privately held location, maybe a contract with people. So that's one thing that I did. That was fun.
Did you always know this was what you wanted to do, or did you have, like, another job in mind?
Well, when I was little, I used to put on plays all the time in our neighborhood, and I would direct and produce. Like, I'd be 6 and I would be telling everybody where to go, or tell them what the story was, and we would make up costumes, and then we would do them on the front porches in our neighborhood. So I think I actually was always interested in it. And I was interested in acting and theater, and I did a bunch of that too. So it's the funny thing about being a producer in animation is that a lot of times you have to kind of be an actor, because you're directing somebody to draw something that explains an acting beat or moment. And so a lot of people are kind of actors, even though they're not the voice actors. They're trying to help that character that's drawn act in a way that makes sense for the scene.
Awesome. And just curious, what shows have you worked on?
Okay, so going backwards, the latest thing that I have on is this season 3 of Hot Wheels Less Race, which is on Netflix right now. It just started airing in March. So that was one project I did. I also worked on a little show called Fireman Sam, which is really big in Europe. It's kind of a cute show. You can see it on YouTube, I think, if you look in the United States. I did some Barbie products, a Barbie television series called It Takes Two. Also an interactive show with Barbie's Epic Road Trip, which was a game. So that was really cool. And then I was really happy to work on a Barbie special that introduced an African-American Barbie, that was really super duper fun. I had my own little company for a time and made movies for Skechers. And so I helped create that whole world with their little character called Twinkle Toes. There were these shoes called Twinkle Toes shoes. And so if you look closely, that character looks a lot like your cousin Josie, because I designed her to look like Josie. So that one's kind of cool. I've been in a lot of shows where, like, your great grandparents are in a Incredible Hulk episode in the background. Because I had them drawn and put in the background of an episode. So that was pretty cool. Funny enough, they're dressed as farmers. Which is kind of silly. But I've worked on a bunch of Marvel products too. Spectacular Spider-Man. I was producer on that. I think all the other projects I've done. I've done a lot of projects. Woody Woodpecker Show, Casper, Land Before Time. Even did a little bit on an American Tail video. So yeah, so a bunch of stuff.
What do you think was your favorite out of all of those?
Oh, my favorite show that I ever worked on? I'll just say the last one, Hot Wheels, because they're all really fun. Yeah, working in live action is really crazy because you're seeing like a picture of what's really happening, but you don't see is like 200 people all the way around, like the stuntmen.
Yeah.
They worked on this one movie where we had to close down all of Times Square, and I was in the locations department, so they would radio me and they would go, Diane, can you come here? There's somebody in our shot, and I'd go like, what do you want me to do about it? And they go, sir, can I offer you $50 to leave the scene, please? Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
No, thank you.